Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center semi-overnighter. This will be an open mic session. It will end the week and begin a new one just just a little bit over 24 hours ago from our main overnight show. Thank you all those who were able to watch that show live and in the replay. If you did not get a chance, I just put a link to it in the chat. So go ahead and click on that and watch it. Yeah, yesterday was our first um, exclusive show that aired exclusively on the Sci-Fi Center's YouTube channel, which you can see right under the little cartoon image of me, youtube.com/at the Sci-Fi Center. Please like and subscribe once you visit there. Also, like and subscribe to Poindexter Lounge as well. We could both use all the help we can get. Okay, so not too much of a topic since we pretty much got everything out of our system yesterday. But I will just go ahead and answer questions and stuff because I know since I was solo yesterday, I was not able to get to the chat as much as I would have liked to. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that that you didn't get off your chest yesterday or you weren't able to watch yesterday, here's your time. So we'll be around here for about maybe an hour or so. So let me start by saying hi to those. All right, that event. Apparently, the text said there's bad wiring in my internet. Should be fixed within 1 to 2 days. Working now, but causing intermittent issues here and there. All right, cool. How you doing, Chappie? How you doing, Daniel, Teron, and Larry? What's going on? The floor is yours, guys. Like I said, nothing really anything controversial happened within the last 24 hours. I just had some time, and like I said, I know once Enoch comes back, this is going to be probably the primary spot that he's either on. Now, from what he told me, like I explained to you guys yesterday, since he is a teacher, and once he starts going back to school, he's not going to do a lot of the overnight streams like he was doing before because he has to be up early, which is where I'll probably slide in when we do our simulcast. Being that I'm a night owl and my day doesn't start, and I'm on the West Coast. So we'll still probably be doing these semis and the Midnight Expresses. What we'll probably do is a handoff from whatever he ends and if he's on the air to what we're doing. So, but until then, we're just going to be continuing along the road we have, creating some new and different content for my channel. A lot of shorts, a lot of informational shorts. And we are refining the Sci-Fi Center Saturday overnight show. You probably, if you were able to watch this yesterday or last night, you'll see some of the changes we made to the structure of the show. And I pretty much love the way that show goes. I mean, we have some technical issues that we got to fix, and I'm working on that. Other than that, I thought for the most part the sound was fine. I thought the video was fine. I thought the flow of the conversation was fine. Other than the fact that, like I said, I couldn't get to all your questions because I was running the show, and it's really hard for me to run the show and the chat and get to everybody like I usually do when I have topics. When I don't have topics and it's just you guys, it's a lot easier. So, but like I said, that's a temporary thing. So let's see. Saw Sound of Freedom, good movie, didn't drag, but 7 out of 10. I heard about that somewhere else too. I have not seen that yet. I haven't even seen Indiana Jones yet. It's just kind of sad. All these movies I send people to, and I don't get a chance to see them myself. All right, Larry, have you seen the video of Undertaker and Mick Foley watching their Hell in a Cell match and discussing it? It was awesome. They both seem super nice. Yeah, Undertaker is actually, both of those guys are super, super, super nice guys. I mean, obviously their characters are a little bit on the crazy side, but that's an act, that's a role. Yes, I did see that, and I've actually seen. I mean, we have like 25 years of interviews of that match. I was watching that match live when all that happened. I remember Jim Ross screaming, "Stop the damn match!" I mean, he was just losing his mind on that match. Even though we all knew it was choreographed, there are things that happened in that Hell in a Cell match that even though wrestling, fake, whatever you want to call it, choreographed, there are things, if you know what match I'm talking about, it's a historic match. If you're not a wrestling fan, Google it. But there are things that happen in that match that that make wrestling being fake meaningless. Choreographed or not, Mick Foley gets careened from the top of a cage onto a table. He falls from the top of the Hell in a Cell to the bottom of the Hell in a Cell. He's choke slammed endlessly into a steel structure. So choreographed or not, that was life threatening activity that went on that night. Teeth being shoved through his upper lip into his nose. He bruised, lacerated kidneys. I mean, you look at the list of injuries that Mick Foley suffered on that match just to put on a show. That match was like, like I said, and people have been trying to top that match for 25 years. And they haven't come close to it. Yeah, and he had a there's another show on A&E where they're looking for like the lost relics of WWE. It's hilarious. What's your experience when you saw Green Lantern movie in theaters? I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was great. I don't think Ryan Reynolds was the guy for the role, but I didn't think it was as horrible as people look back on it now. Let's see. I would watch that, but I lived it. So, but that was the WWF in the '90s was a pretty good era for them. They didn't start becoming the bad product that they are now until the late '90s, like '98, '99, when they went into the Attitude Era, and it just was not a very good product. It was still strong, it was still drawing, but it wasn't. The product deteriorated in the 2000s. And then when there was no other competition because AOL screwed and WCW and created a horrific situation for all wrestling, that's when you started seeing the wrestling audience TV wise shrink. Now they still sell out arenas and they still have some of the greatest talent in the world. But if you look at the overall product, the late '90s was their last gasp, in my opinion. Now they still got great people, they still put on a good show, but it's not consistently good. And for the amount of TV time that they're on the air and the amount of shows that they have, it should be better. I think the booking has been bad since '98, and like I said, it's just not a very good product. It hasn't been. That's why when I see people dogging WWE now, I'm like, where were you at in 1998, 1999, and up when it was really just a mundane product? All right, William thought Insidious Red Door earned 64 million on its worldwide box office. Opening weekend, a total success considering it was $15 million budget. Yeah, I heard about that, and then immediately all the marks are like, "Well, see, you don't need to have a $200 budget to make money. Look, Insidious only have it." Listen, you can't do this for every movie. I always say you get what you pay for. You can get away with doing it in a Blumhouse movie or a movie like this, but you cannot apply this to every movie. Congratulations that they were able to do that. But if I'm doing a Superman movie, 15 million might be the catering budget. Just kidding, but it's not going to be 15 million. There are too many things that a movie like that encompasses that you have to do right. You cannot cut corners. So I'm happy for Insidious, but I always get to hear afterwards that just because something low budget was successful, that everything needs to be low budget. No. It's hilarious that Alan Moore hates the deprecation of his book so much. Then why? Well, no, he didn't sign the contract. He didn't sign. He doesn't have to. Everything Alan Moore did for DC belongs to DC. Everything. He gets credited with the creation, but he was a hired hand when he worked with them. So he has no decision. He doesn't sign contracts like to come on as a producer or an advisor. Dave Gibbons does. He doesn't. But he doesn't have to because the IPs don't belong to him. Yeah, that was right after he left WCW. And I think that was 1992. He won the title in the Royal Rumble. Yeah, that was just weird seeing him in WWF. William thought on over 100 VX artists. The worked in the aging process for Ezra Ford. Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny and created ILM Face Swap. Sounds about right. A lot of our technology comes from these movies, these Lucas type movies. I mean, if you look at 1999 when he came out with the Phantom Menace, he was waiting for technology to catch up with him from 1983 to 1999 or 1982 to 1989, so that he could make another Star Wars movie. So Lucasfilm has always been an innovator. Maybe that's why that budget was almost 300 million. Andy was good, much better than Crystal Skull. I have not seen it. I plan on seeing it pretty soon here, but I've just been too busy. That's literally when I stopped watching that. There's a lot of people that stopped watching them. Because if you look at the wrestling audience, you figure there are 2 million people watching WCW Nitro, and then you had 3 to 6 million each night, each Monday night watching Raw. So you had about 8 or 9 million people a night watching wrestling. But as you know, the 2000s went on, WWE could barely draw 3. So, which is still a strong number for them, but it's not what they were drawing prior. And a lot of the audiences got turned on when the WWE was the only product in town. A lot of people just left wrestling, as far as the audience goes. The hardcore ones still show up in person, but stadium revenue is good. It's great, but it's that TV contract that they lust for. Rhea Ripley is the love of your life. She is kind of hot. Lots of muscles. Yeah, horror movies are, they are notorious. That's why most of your low budgets are horror. A lot of horror movies don't require anything beyond practical effects. Now, your science fiction and your superhero genre, totally different thing. Totally different thing because you got all kinds of stuff in there. Just the original Indiana Jones with Raiders of the Lost Ark, just that last scene where their faces are melting away when they open up the Ark. I wonder what that would have cost these days. All right, Jake William, thought on Akiva Goldsmith says that Francis Lawrence and Keanu Reeves have broken Constantine 2, but they haven't started typing yet. To me, Constantine 2 or Constantine, depending on who you are, is going to be like a White Buffalo until I actually see it happening. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. All right, William, dollar on the final runtime for Blue Beetle is 2 hours and 7 minutes. Hey, that's perfect time for me at my house where I'll be watching it. I didn't think it'd be that long, though. But yeah, see, at home, it's probably going to take me a long time longer to watch that because I'll be pausing it and doing other stuff. I was never a big fan of the Kingsman. Not because they're bad movies, but I was never a big fan of the premise. I don't know if you can do what they did with deep fake and makeup. I haven't seen the movie, but I know I've seen that scene. I've seen those scenes at the beginning. I don't know if you can do it with makeup. I think there's like a certain opaqueness that just happens when you try to do it, especially with lighting and everything. I mean, CGI you can adjust so much with the de aging stuff. But like I said, I'm not an effects artist, but I'm pretty sure they, you know, they didn't spare any expense making this movie, so I don't know why they could have gone either way. Well, that's all Seth Rogen said. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem will never have boring scenes. The movie itself seems to be crackling with energy. That's another movie that I won't be seeing. Looks kind of cheesy. I'll probably watch it on streaming, but for people who love the Turtles, I mean, it reminds me of what the comic looked like. Just put it in black and white. Oh, I believe him. Just another project on the back burner. Yeah, she's got severe upper body musculature. I mean, she ain't playing around. Um, wasn't a fan of either. I actually think, I'm sorry to say this, that's one of Moore's weaker stories. And for a guy who's put out such great stuff, I mean, that's a high bar. But I actually think Leave Extraordinary Gentleman was a weak story, in my opinion. This is what the premise was there for me, and the movie. Just to say, a lot of times, if I don't like the comic or the premise of the movie that something's being based on, I know it's probably not the right way to think, but I like Deadpool. I can't stand Deadpool. I had no desire for a Deadpool movie to be made, and I had no desire to see it. And it didn't matter how great the movie was. I just don't like the character. It's just the premise doesn't appeal to me. Lester, what's going on? I'm doing all right. Just wrapping up the week. Letting my feet swelling go down. Letting the allergy meds kick in. William thought on James Gunn says Vigilante will appear in the DCU probably before Peacemaker season 2. Well, Peacemaker season 2 is not happening until like well after chapter 1. So yeah, I mean, I got a feeling that you're going to see all these characters before sooner than later because he'll integrate them into what he's working on right now. I liked the Vigilante character. He was one of my favorite characters. He grew on me. The whole show grew on me. To be honest with you, the whole the whole cast of Peacemaker. Sorry, I'm playing with my controllers here. Here we go. Even Harcourt, who I thought was kind of bitchy at the beginning, she grew on me, and Christopher himself, Peacemaker, grew on me. But I did really like Freddie From. He's excellent. I didn't have much info on the Vigilante character. I have some of the old issues at the store, but he breathed life into a character that I had no idea even existed on that level. So yeah, I don't mind seeing him around. The deep fake was okay, but I also found it distracting, almost like there was no stakes because it was animated. I was like, he'll be fine. Oh, plus he lives. So, yeah. Well, I thought on James Gunn, Superman Legacy is not a workplace origin story. It takes place. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what the hell a workplace horror story is. To be honest with you, I hear the term, but I'm like, okay, are you meaning just are you're basically saying that he's already off and running, which is fine. We've already seen a 10 million Clark's first day after the planet. Clark, Kal-El lands from outer space. We've seen all that. I grew up with the Turtles and don't really have an interest in this new one. The cheesy and too geared towards kids. Yeah, I do. Yeah, because if you read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, kids bought it, but wow, it was deep. Did you ever do your Dollar Disney review, or do you think that the franchise should continue with the Harrison Ford? I didn't review it. I sent a guy who did review it, Cody Brockup. He did it for me, and I played that yesterday on the show. Um, could it continue without Harrison Ford? Yes. I mean, obviously, I don't want another Indiana Jones necessarily. Not for a while, but these type of stories with a doctor of archaeology, I could see it going on. Deadpool's Next Generation Wolverine. We never asked for it. Yeah, because remember, during that time when Layfield and Nick Aiza were creating characters, they basically were capitalizing what was going on and, the mutant craze. And those books came out in the early 90s before the bottom of comic books, started to fall out in the mid 90s to late 90s. Everybody was the New Mutants X Force. He first appeared in New Mutants '98, and then Rob Layfield and Nick Aiza created them, and he was all over the place. And I had just seen so many Rob Layfield's designs that just looked like. And if you look at his later stuff that he did for Image, you'll see a lot of similarities in Youngblood and all these other characters that basically look like Deadpool. What Deadpool was, he was just like a generic concept. And then when they started adding the fourth wall and he started, or breaking the fourth wall and he started the whole comedy shtick, I just really lost touch with the character, and it just wasn't for me. The same thing that they were trying with She-Hulk in the comics with John Byrne just didn't work for me with that character. So I just never made the connection. Doing chores all day, like you live on the Little House on the Prairie, man. Really do. Deadpool's hilarious, and I really like Deadpool, and I love the second one, and can't wait for the third one. It's going to be interesting to see him and Wolverine together. Yeah, like I said, there's going to be plenty of people that enjoy it. I just never hooked up. But I love Hugh Jackson's Wolverine, though. I just don't have any regard to see this movie. But you guys enjoy it, man. And to mention something DC related, my adventures with Superman release. Finally, I'm gonna. I tried to give that a shot because it's on. I think it was on HBO Max. Because I was at the store the other night before I jumped on, and I was taking a look at it. I'm bringing it up right now. Come on. I think the heat is doing something to my internet. I hate this place. I really do. Sometimes I just want to go retire to Seattle or California, where it's not 100. It's going to be 114 degrees next Saturday. Woohoo! All right, so I'm bringing up Superman. The animation style. Oh, where was I watching that? Here we go. I can't play it on here, but I'll share it just to show you what I don't. The main thing I don't like about it is the animation style. So that right there is like, So there you go. I'm just not on board with that animation style. I know people, anime lovers will love it. And I like some anime, but I just think that his face and it just doesn't look right to me. And the story is all right. The story is pretty solid. And, I finished the first episode. There's two of them in there, and I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. Maybe I'll give it some more time. But yeah, I just don't like the look and feel of the show so far. But that's just me. I've heard nothing but good things about it, so apparently you all love it. Plus, there's a certain tone that I like for my Superman stories that's just not there as well. So, all right, so let's see. Creature Commandos is one of those things I just don't care about now. I don't know what role they're gonna play. I mean, obviously they're gonna have their own show, but it's like they're not the front of mind. Some of the things that he released on the slate, I'm all for. I cannot wait to see them happening. Woman of Tomorrow is gonna be great. Legacy, I think, is gonna be really good. Batman and the Brave and the Bold, I'm still on the fence about. The Paradise Lost series, I'm on board, but when you start getting into the Creature Commandos, I'm like, okay. And people made the comparisons to them to Guardians of the Galaxy as far as where they are. I'm a bit worried because Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel was 11 films in with some blockbusters under their wing before they bought them in. But as long as long as the anchor is set with Superman, if Superman Legacy does well, I think that's going to give them a lot of momentum to do these other things. That's the key, though. Oh, that movie! I remember the video for that movie, the music videos. Back when they did soundtracks and motion pictures, the Turtle one was epic. William Donald Amelia Harker will not appear in Superman Legacy. Um, there's no role for her there probably. So, I mean, she's not in every one of his movies. But I do think you will see her down the line, no doubt. Well, yeah. William, Killian Murphy says fans should go see Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day if they are good films. Cinema wins. Okay, so this film goer, William, will never be going to see Barbie. I wish it all the luck in the world. It's going to make a ton of money. It does not need my little change in my pocket. I have absolutely no interest in seeing a Barbie movie. We'll promote it because I know it's a Warner Brothers movie, but I have zero interest in seeing this movie. Oppenheimer, on other hand, is one of my most anticipated movies. It's the first Christopher Nolan movie that I'm actually looking forward to seeing since The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight, I was only looking forward to seeing Heath Ledger. So this is going to be different for me, for somebody who just is not fully impressed by Christopher Nolan movies, for me to be looking forward to this. So to me, it's a no-brainer. The only way I see Barbie is if I lose a bet. And that, there you go. When I thought the Flash cost $260 million at the worldwide box office, the movie is not even expected to reach $290 by the end of the theatrical run, making one of the biggest flops. I don't think that number means anything as far as, I think that number is more of the determining factor of a trend of DC movies more than it is the Flash. I mean, it's bad, but I don't think you can look at that number and apply it to the Flash. That number can be applied to the mismanagement of DC as a whole. So it sucks because I thought the movie was a really good movie. I thought it was worthy of much more money than it's going to make. But I felt the same way about the Shazam movies. But when you put these movies out in horrible situations, under horrible management, under horrible inherited situations from bad management, this is the kind of thing that happens, unfortunately. This is why it's so important to hire the right people. I'm definitely excited for D3 because of Wolverine. For me, I was okay with the last time I saw Wolverine being in Logan. And if I was going to see him again, if you had told me 2 years ago that it was going to be a Deadpool movie, I'd be like, oh, yay. My chores mostly sweeping the floor and rug, washing dishes. Okay, cool. No plans on never seeing it. I don't think there's any cut of that movie that could ever save it. Yeah, next Saturday. But I have to say, I've been in Vegas, since 94, 1994. 94 was my first summer here. This has been a pretty tame summer. June is usually a hellacious month, and it wasn't. July, yeah, we're going to be 114 on Saturday, and we've had a couple of 110s and 112s. But for the most part, it's been the lower ends of the 100. I know that sounds insane, the lower spectrum of 100-degree heat. But if you lived in Vegas or if you live in any desert like this, you've been here, like clockwork how bad it gets, and it's not getting that bad this year. We're pretty much, when I come back from Comic-Con, we're done with 2 months of the summer. The 2 bad months of the summer are out of the way. So I really can't complain. If you look at my streams last year, I felt like I was in the Trinity project and not just, watching movies about it. Yeah, there we go. All right. I always really like the Electric movie and don't get the hate for it. Once again, like I explained last night, Chappie, a lot of people are revisionist. They're taking a revisionist view of these movies through the lens of the way movies are made today, and it is not fair to judge some of these cheesy ass movies that were fun to watch in the movies by the ginormous lens that is the MCU. That movie wouldn't have been made like that under a Kevin Feige controlled company. But a lot of people like that movie. So it's good that we have some movies. Like I said, the Fantastic Four was a topic last night, and that's not a bad movie. That's a pretty fun movie. The second one sucked, but the first one I thought was fun, and it was traditional in the way, in the spirit that the Fantastic Four should be. but it's not an MCU movie. And I think a lot of people look at Marvel, everything has to be MCU, or it's somebody's not doing something right. So I think Elektra, Daredevil, and some of the X-Men films fall into that category. Uh, a fun fact about My Adventures of Superman animation: not only is it animated by people animating Invincible season 2, but also adult web series. Because see, I did not like the animation of season 2 or Invincible at all. But I also didn't like the artwork in that Image comic that came out in 2003. I mean, you know how many people I run into that don't realize Invincible came from a comic until I hand them a trade paperback and be like, "Listen, here's where you're at in the series." You're like, I take a couple of pages and I pinch it in my hands and like, "This is where you're at." There's much more to it. The end of the story is right. Here's the end of the story if you want to spoil it, because I have Invincible just sitting on the shelf. But I also didn't like, the artwork there. I mean, but it's artwork is subjective. But I just didn't like the look and feel of that series. It was violent, but I already had, it wasn't the most violent comic out there either. And I was very surprised when it got a TV show. Trent Reznor did the score for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so that alone, well, no, that alone makes it worth me hearing the score on YouTube or buying it. I don't know if I'm going to go see a movie about it. It's different when it's a Hans Zimmer score, because the movies that he does his score for are usually epic movies that you want to see along with the sound. I don't know if I want to make a trip for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I was gonna take it on the safe side that it wasn't Alastair. That would have been gross. Hey, listen, man. Like I said, you guys that are waiting for Barbie, you have all the fun in the world. It is in that category of I don't think so. I just don't feel like. To me, movies are an event to go out and see. I just don't feel like investing the time in going to see Barbie or Blue Beetle. I don't. I don't. As a child, it wasn't. It wasn't something I played with. It wasn't something I could associate with. You know, but I understand why. You know, people are associated. The IP's been around for almost 80 years. It's Barbie. It's a cultural icon just about as big as anything else. I understand, and I think it's going to make a ton of money. It's going to make a lot of money. I don't know because of billion or not, but I know it's going to make a lot of money. And what was the budget on Barbie? To be honest with you. Let's see. When was Barbie created? Barbie was created in 1959, 64 years ago. Let's see. It's $100 million movie. It'll clear that easily. I don't know what the budget is as far as the marketing goes. We haven't gotten anything yet. When does it get released? Oh, it gets released obviously on the same day as Oppenheimer, and that's what I'll be seeing. Yeah, and it's a Greta Gerwig movie, and I'm sorry, she makes movies that she's like the kryptonite to a movie theater for me. She generally makes movies that I stay away from. Let's see. Hannah Takes the Stars, not going to see it. Nights and Weekends, not going to see it. Northern Conference, not going to see it. Francis Ha, not going to see it. Mistress America, not going to see it. Lady Bird, I kept having that movie drilled into my skull that year. Got nominated for best everything. Not going to see it. Little Women, no chance. Barbie, no chance. Snow White, no chance. So yeah, yeah. Sorry, that's just literally you. When you, if you want to keep me out of somewhere, if you want to keep me from eating your food, put pineapple on it. But if you want to keep me from seeing your movie, Make it a Greta Gerwig movie because I ain't going. My girlfriend wanted to do a double show of Barbie. I told her how long. Yeah, you told me about that. That's like this is gonna be 8 hours worth of movies. How long is Barbie? Barbie's 114 minutes. 113 more than I can sit through. Flash was fun, but not a big CGI. Last DC movie I'd seen in theater before was Joker. Is it me or do movies seem really stagnant lately? I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer, Dune, and Rebel Moon, but anything else on my. Well, there's a lot of. I mean, you're still struggling to get people back into the theaters, and a lot of these guys are trying to hold off on doing those nice projects until they're at full capacity because there's still a lot of people who are not going to the theater. But yeah, you're seeing like Transformers and yeah, it does seem that way. It seems like every year though that's that way. The movies that they know are going to be the best movies, the best high quality movies, usually get released in November or December, so that they can be closer to the Oscar season. Because the Oscars happen in February or March of next year, and usually they like to keep they want to have that movie fresh in the minds of the voters. That's why your best movies, your best high quality movies, a lot of times are released at the end of the year, and a lot of other stuff is just kind of like trying to get to that. But there have been some exceptions, like Silence of the Lamb, and was released in January of 1991, so it had almost a full year before it got awarded the Academy Award. It's a rarity, but most of your movies that win Academy Awards are those movies that are released later in the year. The other ones are just pretty much cash grabs. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. And we'll probably send 50 to 100 people to go see Barbie. I'll have them do a review on it. I'll send Cody and have him do a review since he basically wants Tom Cruise to die in order to outdo himself. But yeah, we'll have a reviewer there to go see Barbie. So we'll report on it. I'm just personally not going to see it. I just can't. You know, I'm just not going to sit through that long. 114 of a movie that I know I'm not going to enjoy. William thought of an idea. 28 weeks later, sequel has been discussed. Be 28 years later. Well, that will be right around. No, 20. It's sooner than that, but yeah, they're pretty crafty with those names. How you doing, Hal? I love Joker as well. I love the Batman as well. I mean, I love the Flash. To me, these people, I think we got to get out of the either or. Like I said, I still have these arguments when people say, well, you can't have multiple Batman. It's too confusing. And like I said, I repeat, if your audience is a basket full of dummies, then yeah, it'll be confusing. If your writing staff and your directors and your storytellers are a basket full of dummies, then yeah, it'll be confusing. I don't think either is the case. I think you need to give your audience a chance to grow with your project, and I think you need to be able to take risks and assume that people aren't the dummies that they're written off to be. So I think you could have a Joker in one universe and have the Joker in all these movies. I like the variety. I don't think it has to be either or. I think it for in the case of DC, it needs to be all. As a kid, I unironically liked Captain America 1990. Oh, it was unwatchable then. It was unwatchable then. That had some pretty big names. Who's in that movie? I know JD Salinger's son played Captain America in a very rubbery costume, but it was 1990. Ooh, oh my god! And it was funny because the ears on the cartoon are on the mask were part of the mask. Let's see, Matt Salinger played Captain America. Roddy Cox played President Tom Kimball. Scott Pollan played Red Skull, a version of the Red Skull. Ned Beatty was in this movie. Thomas, his son, was in it. Darren McGavin from Love Boat. Oh my goodness, was in this movie. Bill Mummy from Lost in Space was in this movie. That's a pretty decent cast, but it was awful though. Let me show you just how awful it was. Let's see. Oof. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Look at, like I said, those ears, those rubber ears are. He has rubber ears on that helmet, on that hat. I mean, he looked like he did in the comics, but sometimes you have to make some adjustments, or else it's going to look like shit. And this looked like shit. Oh my goodness. All right, well I'll spare you any more of that. Denmark News. Electra's cut is a lot better than the theatrical cut. Similar in a lot of ways to Daredevil's retro cut, which is really good. I saw Daredevil's original. It didn't save the movie. It was just a different type of movie. It was just over the top, cheesy. You know, it wasn't a horrible movie. I mean, I saw it. We had a false alarm, and we were all about to get deployed. So I was in a hotel, and we all kept going down to see these movies because that were down the street from the hotel. Because we were, you know, this was back when the Iraq War first started, and we thought we were getting deployed, so we were all ready. We had left our homes, everything, so we had nothing to do but watch movies. And that's where we saw that movie, and it was like, you know what? Evanescence got a big hit out of that with their soundtrack. So. All right. Speaking of Barbie, some extremist pastor was dumb and damnation on the Barbie movie for making people and kids gay, even though I don't. You know what? They've been just insert topic there. They've been damning things for 100 years because they thought it made somebody gay. Barbie's just a new one. Oh yeah, because of Lady Gaga. I guess they're not going to go see Joker then. I think it's going to be along the same tone that it was, just a little bit more. I think that whenever you make a sequel like this, you end up pushing the boundaries. I think the tone will remain the same, but I think it's actually going to take it up a notch, and there's going to be singing involved. So there you go. I'm excited for the sequel as well. The average moviegoer has been spoiled by streaming. I hope it recovers, but it's up to the consumer. Yeah, as I was saying before, I mean, you take a family of four to a movie, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and like I said, if you have two good movies and you only have limited finances, one of those movies you're going to have to wait on streaming no matter what, and that's going to hurt its box office, especially with the frequency that they're being released with no space. Uh, yeah, him and his son apparently. I didn't like I said. Morbius wasn't like Scorsese, but it wasn't horrible. I think people pile on Morbius because it's fun. People are always going to, other than Spider Verse, are always going to want to pounce on any Spider Man thing because they think only MCU can do Spider Man. Like I said, I also think that we don't know everything about what Morbius is going to be part of. Once I see Madam Web, then I'll make a final judgment on all their movies like this. Craven, listen, you had me at bit a dude's nose off and spit it towards the camera. That's all I needed to see. I don't even remember the rest of the trailer. I think there's a rhino or something in there. When he bites that fool's nose off and spits it out, I'm there. As soon as I can get my tickets, if they're not promoting it, I'm there. Yes, I love Secret Invasion. I'm enjoying it. I know a lot of people are bashing it, but I don't know why. I think, in my opinion, it's a top tier spy adventure, espionage adventure, and you got shapeshift. What more could you ask for? I think Samuel Jackson is doing an amazing job in this. One of his better MCU performances, in my opinion. All right. Just looking through, making sure that we got everybody's questions. Let's see. You haven't seen the first episode of yeah, it's good. It's good. They're on episode 4 now. Like I said, it's political intrigue. It's cloak and dagger stuff. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. I'm a Cold War kid, so I grew up studying the Cold War, and a lot of this is based on the scrolls themselves. Were a byproduct of the Cold War and the nuclear era. We were talking about this last night on the show, and in the same way that any type of shape-shifting alien, because of the communist scare, it was all based on nuclear proliferation, strange creatures coming from that proliferation, and who you could trust. If you look at it, John Carpenter's thing and the original thing were kind of like that. They played off of the xenophobia because we didn't know who was a Russian sympathizer, and then we had all these nuclear tests going on. So the scrolls and almost all the Marvel monsters and villains that came from that era are a direct byproduct of the with the nuclear age was giving us, and that's why I went over the Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer should not only be the father of the nuclear age, but he's sort of a father to the science fiction age and a lot of the comic book age. So, all right, guys. I think that's about it. It's about 11:19. I don't think there's any more questions to answer. We've had a long week of answering questions and presenting content, and it's probably going to pick up here real soon. Just remember, I am going to be at right now. Right now, anything can change, but right now, I am scheduled to be at Comic-Con, and I will be streaming from Comic-Con. Throughout Comic-Con, whenever I can stream from the floor, I'll be there. I'm going to try to find me a nice place amidst all the action so that you can see San Diego behind me. So Comic-Con is going to be, we'll be doing both of those. Those streams will be both on the Sci-Fi Center's channel, and they'll be on Point Extra Lounge's channel. So, all right, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being there last night. Once again, if you get a chance, and I'm going to put the video back in the chat again. If you get a chance and you did not get a chance to see it last night, there is our Saturday OverNighter. We covered a lot of topics, and I think it's one of our better shows. So if you get the chance, go ahead and check it out. Like and subscribe. Give that show a like if you could, and keep an eye out for future stuff that we have hidden on that channel. And until I see you again, play safe, stay out of the heat.